Hello, all listeners come back to find stories about the ghosts of Thailand. Once again with Matthew, the moderator. Let's talk about this. Many of you may remember me. Pei Li's story is an incident that you told me last time, but the event that will be told today is at the event of Pooh's younger brother.
Yes, it must be called a meeting with the whole family. Pei Li's story, Pooh was the one who found it. As for this story, Pooh's younger brother was the one who found it.
Oh, did you meet the whole family?
Yes.
It's a throwback event. From the present, go back a long time or not.
It's about 31 years old.
But it was an incident. After Pei Li's incident, right?
Yes, born after that because when Pei Li's story happened, Pooh's younger brother was just born. About a few months.
Okay, let's talk about this. How is this story of Displaced Spirit? Please tell me.
I have to tell you a little bit. We'll have figured out the picture in the past. There were Chinese people in that area. Came to work in Thailand a lot. The address area is that there will be a boat known as the coal carrier or carry products to sell, and then there will be a conveyance. Entering a small boat, it will float up along the pier. There will be Chinese people coming to hire. We'll go with the boat to carry the goods. These Chinese people don't know where they come from. He came to work. He will go to rent a room. That area in the past, there will be an old tea house in it. There will be a room for rent in a wooden house. Chinese people will rent. There are 10 people in one room, which means it's crowded. The Chinese people will dare to accept the job. In order to have money sent home, give a child to a wife, some people can settle. Some of them became corpses floating in the water. Going to follow the temple piers a lot when meeting these Chinese corpses, which we don't know where he came from. When an autopsy finds that he is not a Thai person, he will be cremated and the bones stored in various temples. In that area. At that time, Pooh was studying at a school in the temple next to the house. But he doesn't have a toddler class. At that time, Pooh's mother took Pooh's younger brother go to another school where the monks teach preschoolers. Here at one point at the room that teaches young children has been repaired, so bring the children to study at the cafeteria. Adjacent to the wall, Pooh's younger brother is studying at the cafeteria. About a week or more, there was one day that Pooh had school activities. Then Grandpa Pooh's mother was stuck on business. Pooh must be the person to pick up the younger brother. Which at that time was about 5 o'clock. When Pooh went to pick up the younger brother, he would sit with 3 other children, including him, 4 people, whose other friends had already left. Which usually children run and play, but that day, it felt strange that all 4 children sat still, looking at the ground. Pooh didn't think anything. Because Pooh used to have a seizure. When the father or mother picks up late, Pooh thinks that younger siblings and children probably have those same symptoms. Is that the parents come to pick them up late but they already want to go home. Therefore causing lethargy. Which is usually after school. Pooh's brother must beg to buy things. But that day, Pooh's younger brother did not request. Just follow Grandpa from the temple where Pooh's younger brother studied. Come back home will be a grove of incense trees. Atmosphere of the house in that area will be an old wooden house, gives a scary atmosphere. Next will be incense flowers. Is quite a distance. It will be a cam interspersed with a grove of incense flowers. Next will be a row building. Interspersed with incense flowers. Therefore arriving at Pooh's house. Next is the temple alley next to the house. Atmosphere on that day, it's called the diaper ghost. Pooh is a person who hates this atmosphere very much. That is, giving a strange feeling hallucinating, feeling uncomfortable while holding the hand of the younger brother walking past. What is more strange is the incense tree leans behind it. Then it rebounds. Will be all the way. The wind did not blow, but the incense tree leaned. It looks like when a person walks through a grove of incense trees. Then it rebounds. Area where we walk parallel to the grove of incense trees. She has a grandfather and a younger brother. Only 2 people. Pooh's sister didn't say anything. Walk with his head down. When he arrived home, he didn't take a shower, he didn't eat, he just fell asleep. Sleeps like an exhausted child.
Which is unusual by himself, right?
Yes, but her mother thought that my younger brother might not feel well. At 9 p.m., he sat up and said he was hungry. Mother raised a rice cooker with a diameter of 10 inches and a height of about 2 inches and set it with boiled eggs and fried pork. The younger brother ate it all by himself. Which the boy is only 4 years old.
Is the rice all over the pot? The size of the rice cooker is very big.
It's all gone. When the younger brother ate, he drank all the water and went to sleep. He can sleep for about an hour. He got up and cried and didn't want to go home. Tell his mom to carry you outside. So the mother had to carry the younger brother for a walk. At that time, everyone in the house understood that their brother is sick, which is normal when your sick mother would carry him on his shoulder and walk him until he fell asleep. To bring into the house, but that day, her mother walked and held him until 5 a.m., refusing to sleep at all.
You mean, your mother's still holding it like that until 5 a.m.?
Yes, 2 o'clock. Father come home from work. Arrived home around 2 o'clock in the morning. Father had to change with his mother, carrying the younger brother until 5 a.m., unable to bring him into the house because he entered the house. He immediately cried, screaming, struggling, refusing to stay in the house. Therefore, we have to take them out to walk until 5 a.m. The monks walk for alms. The younger brother put his head down and sleeps soundly. No matter how much he wakes up, he won't wake up. That day he slept all day. And like a child who has no strength, does not eat, does not drink water, does not feel up, does not get up, comes to consciousness around 7 is the sunset. The first sentence that comes out is hungry. Then everything was the same. He ate it all. We turned and looked at each other. The younger sister asked what the younger brother was. Why eat? Scary. After he had finished eating, he lay down to sleep. At about 4 p.m., he cried again and ran out of the house. Mother had to run to catch. He said he didn't go in. He refuses to enter the house. He will play outside. Mother had to carry him from the front of the alley to the front of the house. It will be a wooden bridge. Below will be a canal. But it's not very deep. In the middle of the alley, there will be an electric pole made of round wood, about 1 person embraced, very tall. Mother would go and stand at the pole. He would be silent. That night, she would carry her like that until 5 a.m. as usual. As soon as the temple rang the bell to say that the monks issued alms, he fell asleep and entered the house. On the second day, her mother was unsure. So he took his brother to the doctor. Because during the day he was in the same condition, he was a child without energy, he did not wake up, but the doctor examined everything and found nothing and said that his body was exhausted. Mom said it shouldn't be exhausting. Because he eats a lot of rice, usually 1 pot of rice can eat about 6 people, but he is all alone. The doctor said that the child was fine. Therefore have to take him home. The third night, the same loop, as before, everything else. Eat rice. When he wakes up, he has to ask your mother to walk him. In the morning, her mother told me she couldn't do it anymore. If today her brother is still like this, her mother is definitely bad. About 9 o'clock, her mother invites me to go into the temple. Take him to the monk to pour holy water. The mother carried her younger brother over her shoulder. Pooh then walked behind him carrying things. When arriving at the temple, the younger brother raised his head. Then struggling until it falls off. Mother can't hold. The uncle who sells stuff in front of the temple came to help catch it, but couldn't catch it. Struggling to cry that he didn't want it, didn't go in, only kept crying.
Imagine a 4-year-old child, listeners.
Can't catch it down to the floor and sit like that, so Mom told her to take it home. Probably won't be able to enter the temple in the afternoon, let Pooh watch his younger brother. Then the mother will go in and take holy water. Not good posture. Meet an aunt who sells bananas. If all listeners remember, this aunt used to come and talk about Pei. She sells bananas in front of the temple, which is a small wooden shed. She asked why she didn't bring her younger brother. Cross to the opposite side today at the opera house, there is a oracle-style tubtim goddess to try. Hearing her say that, her mother said, "Then let's go." When he was about to cross the shore, the younger brother asked where he was going. Mom replied shortly that she went to see the opera. His younger brother agrees to carry. When he arrived at the opera house, Aunt Oracle at that time, it was an old Chinese woman. She walked out, then she came and took her brother. Because at that time the mother was carrying her younger brother on his shoulder and grabbed her brother by the head. Then she asked, "How many days has it been?" Mom said, "It's been 3 days. She asked me to take him inside." Then she said to take the Chinese talisman goes back divided into 2 parts. One part is to be attached to the door and window, and then another part to boil, then mix the ashes with water, let the younger ones drink and bathe. When coming out, she said that the next 3 days will be a bit tiring, which the 4th day will not be much, but 5 to 6, 7 will be a bit tiring. Especially the last day. If you can pass the 7th day, it will be fine, that is, it will end. When the younger brother returned home, he doesn't know anything. Because when he was at the point where he gave holy water. When coming home, Pooh's brother, it's back to being the same again. At 12 o'clock, he gets up and complains that he's hungry. But this time his demeanor was strange. He got up, and then he looked around the house, at the door, at the window, at the cross-eyed, staring at him, at the door, at the window again. And then turned to look at the mother's face. He looked like he were angry with each other for a long time. Staring at the template is very scary. Mother brings food. He wiped the rice tray with his hand. Gave me water, did not eat, and brushed it all away. Doubt he will know that mother mixed water with ashes and cooked rice for him to eat. He refuses to eat. He lay down to sleep. At 10 p.m., he said the same thing. He told him to go out. Mom said not to leave. He was told that he would leave. No one can stop me.
Are you speaking harshly?
Yes, her mother was very confused because her younger brother had never said such a thing. The voice that spoke was not a child's voice. That is, his voice is very strong. And the younger brother is white, but that day his face was very green. Pooh and his younger sister got up and walked away in another direction. To sit and hide in the corner of the room. He didn't dare to approach his brother because he was afraid. Mother told Pooh to bring a water bowl. Mother will fetch water for the younger brother to drink. No matter what, you must be able to eat. Pooh brought a bowl of water to him. Mother drew water from the bowl, divided out for the younger brother to eat. He brushed it off and didn't eat. Pooh doesn't know what to do. So he overturned the bowl and poured water over her brother's head. Then his younger brother cried loudly and fell asleep.
Sing about this. What do you mean? How does he sing?
He screamed right up. Like a whistle, loud just once, then turn your stomach down. At midnight he got up again. But he got up like he had no strength. But he will go out again. Mom gave me more water to drink. After drinking water, he fell asleep. It was like that all night, about 5 to 6 times, almost every hour. He'll get up every hour. By the next morning, everything had calmed down. And sleep like a person without energy, and then stroking like that until the night of the 6th. On the night of the 6th, he woke up only twice. We begin to feel comfortable, though today might be over. But it's not like that. It hasn't started yet. Because the night of the 7th is the last night. The younger brother got up and said that he was very hungry. Father got up and made stir-fried noodles with soy sauce for us to eat, which is a lot of quantity, can share it with everyone. But the younger brother ate all alone. By using his hand to put it in your mouth to eat when he was full, he took the back of his hand. wiped the mouth with both hands. Then lay down to sleep at 4 p.m. and got up as usual. Going out, he'll go outside, he's going. He's not here anymore, everyone doesn't know what to do. So he brought water mixed with ashes to drink. Which the last day will be Chinese talisman powder mixed with holy water that was taken from the temple. After drinking, he went to sleep. Midnight, woke up again, then drink more water. After drinking, he fell asleep. Mother said it was past midnight. Everything would be over, but it's not over.
Is it the same again?
Yes, this time got up and knelt. Then extended his hand pointing towards the front door of the house. That night was a moonlit night. So bright that everything can be seen. He waved his hand to say something. Her mother and father tried to force him by taking the syringe to suck the water from the glass and squeeze water into his mouth because he refuses to drink himself from a glass. He cried about 2 times, the 3rd time he screamed and fell to sleep. After a while, the cry of her younger sister was heard. Now the younger brother fell down where his father was sitting. His father had already held him. The frightened sister went to see her mother. Then point her hand to the front of the alley. Everyone looked outside. In the middle of the original alley, there was 1 electric pole. But now there are 3. 1 tree on the water, the other 2 are on the bridge. Appearance is a shiny black straight line. Then 2 tall pillars, but can't see above, and it's very clear. Mother raised her hand to cover her sister's mouth. Then the other hand touches the finger to the mouth. In order not to let Grandpa speak, but with curiosity causing Pooh to crawl to the front door, mother and sister crawled after him. Everyone saw the same thing. What's there is not an electric pole, it's legs, a black shadow rising up, with a body, 2 arms, and a head. Loud sound like the wind passing through a small hole, then it was loud and whistling. The other hand waved back and forth. Pooh is stiff and can't do anything right. For the first time, she saw it with my own eyes. Then put your index finger on her mouth. Absolutely do not say anything. Stayed like that for almost half an hour. It's been a very long time.
Oh wow, it's only 5 minutes. It's been a long time since she saw this. This is half an hour, isn't it?
Knowing the duration because she heard the guard walking in the bell-ringing temple. When the younger brother woke up it was over 2 o'clock, but the guard knocked 3 times, that means it was 3 in the morning. Pooh's mother said, "Grandmother, please help her children, help her grandchildren." Her voice trembled like she was crying. Grandpa also told Grandma the same thing. That helping grandchildren with grandchildren is very afraid. After a while, there was a loud shout to chase them out. Then that shadow immediately disappeared.
Yes, there's a yelling sound coming out.
Yes, that shadow instantly disappeared. From the silence, there was no sound at all. Even the wind blows started to have the sound of bullfrogs, frogs, and night insects.
Everything is back to normal, right?
Yes, Pooh's mother sighed. And say it's over the next morning at about 5 in the morning. People started to come out of the house and talk to each other, not just Pooh's house. But the people in the alley that live in that area see each other.
He sees the same for everyone, right?
Yes, he said he heard a whistle. The most obvious house is a house built directly to the electric pole. The owner of this house is Aunt Dang. Aunt Dang sees, and she said she trembled all over her body. She couldn't help it. She said that she peeled it completely. Then she returned to Pooh's house again. She told me that at the kanji shop told me that about 3 o'clock there was a loud sound of thunder. Her think it was when we heard the screaming. Because kanji shops have to set up shop at 3 a.m. every day in front of the temple in order to sell at 5 a.m. He heard the sound of thunder, but he didn't see the incident. Which the she her went to the temple at the school where my brother studied. Go and tell the teacher. The teacher nodded. Then the teacher ordered the monks in the temple to take plywood to block between the cafeteria and the wall. Events in Pooh's family ended. But there are still events from now on.
Okay, tell it slowly.
Do you remember when Pooh went to pick up her younger brother? There were 3 other children sitting with him.
Remember.
Second boy's father at the commercial building, opening a shop. The ground floor is open as a shop. The 3rd floor is a residence. The 2nd floor is storage. Let's talk about this. After the story about Pooh's younger brother's first night back home, his son arrived. Then go to sleep as well, do not eat at 3 p.m. Get up, and tell mom and dad that a friend called to play. His son pointed to the window. In front of the store on the right-hand side of the shop, there will be a power pole. When his son pointed, the curtains on the windows are closed. His son pointed there and said that a friend came to call him to play, and his son jumped out of bed. Pull the curtains out on both sides, open the door next to the window. Then jump off the balcony.
Hey, don't.
His father jumped and grabbed it in time. But what his mother saw, there are 2 people perched on a power pole. And pretended to jump into the room, but was not able to jump and fall down below. Then he cried, and the moment he fell, the boy's father turned to look. After a moment, the 2 of them climbed up the pole again. Then beckons, the son struggled to jump down. His father had to hold his son. He took his wife and ran downstairs. When they arrived downstairs, the 3 of them sat embracing each other, unable to do anything. For a moment, a sound of falling on the floor was heard in front of the store. The boy's father went out to have a look. By allowing the mother to hold her son, the son tried to get out. Father saw a person perched on an electric pole. Both of them jumped to the ground. Then stand up and pick up what's on the floor and put it back into his stomach. The child's father was evident that it is the liver, kidneys, intestines, and a pile of blood. During his collection he laughed. And then climbed onto the electric pole again and jumped down. Do this over and over. His son tried to jump off the stairs. Climb up the table to jump off the table. This was about 2 days. He can't stay. He had to bring his son and his wife. Go to one temple. By going to live in the temple, all 3 did not return home, asking the monks to pour holy water on them. Until feeling better. While returning home, the monk warned him to teach his son well. Don't play naughty, it shouldn't. Some things shouldn't be played. But the monk didn't say anything. 3rd boy. The boy was the son of a construction worker. Come from other provinces and live in a labor camp. Galvanized in the daytime, the boy's parents go out to work, and he will take the child to raise. This boy came back when he came home. Stranger than other friends. When he returned home, he went to sleep without talking, while the boy's parents, they were sitting there drinking. The boy got up and walked out. There lay half raw, half cooked food. When the boy arrived, immediately put his hand in his mouth.
Oh, eat raw food. What's in the dish?
Yes, usually children never eat it. When eating all the dishes and then turning to ask his father if there were any more, the child's parents looked surprised. When the child is full, raised both hands to wipe his mouth, then went back to sleep. That very night, a sound like someone cutting a nail into zinc sounded around the construction camp. Every room heard the same thing. When he came out to look, he found no one. They thought it might be a teenager who are in that area to pretend to play, so they went back to the room together. When everyone closes the door, there was another sound of zinc tapping. Then there was a sound like someone climbing on the roof. Then use a nail to cut the zinc on the roof. The noise remained like that until morning. Yes, but the boy's mother wouldn't let him eat. The boy was angry. The boy was only 5 years old. But can raise the carriage, then turn it upside down to the ground and say, "I'll eat it," and bring it now. The last mother of the boy had to make the boy eat. That night the same thing happened again. But this time a voice called the boy's name. Then there was the sound of nails slashing on the zinc. Alternately calling the boy's name, Mom and Dad tried to sleep and hug their son. To keep the son out of the house, the boy struggled to get out. and say let me go, he'll go out, he'll come after me, then he'll go back. This is not my place. But the sound the child spoke was different from normal. The child struggled very hard. Parents shouted to their friends next door. Let's come in and help catch the boy. Until finally had to tie the rope. The next day, parents and boys back to their homes in the provinces to go to the ritual according to the beliefs of that province. While returning to the setting sun, the boy refused to come home. Say the house is hot. The boy's uncle took him to his house. Near each other, it looks like a raised wooden house. Below is an open space. There is a large water bowl on the side of the house. That night the boy heard his name call. The boy's grandmother looked out, but didn't see anyone. The boy's uncle forbade his grandmother to speak, for fear that what will happen moments later. There was another call. The boy's uncle then went down the stairs, turned to look towards the water basin and saw that there was someone going up and squatting. The person jumped down and stood in front of him. Clothes that a person wears, like a Chinese worker's suit, skinny pants, and messy hair. Gathered in the back, that person said, "Get him stuff back." Repeat over and over. After a moment, the person came forward, while stationary, which the first uncle of the boy thinks he's crazy, but so far, it's definitely not a madman. So immediately ran back home. Grandson's name calling still loud all the time, speaking of his things all night long. The next day, the boy's grandmother invited everyone to go to the temple for the monks to pour holy water. When he arrived, the monk asked, "What did the grandson bring?" "He came to reclaim," which no one knows, but the nephew has a very strange behavior. Tried to climb onto the water bowl. "If it falls into the jar, will surely die." The monk said to go find it again. "Did your nephew bring anything?" As in-law realized that while washing clothes she found a white stone.
Is it a white stone?
Yes, she took it out to look and throw it to the side of the water jar. The boy's uncle realized that the person he saw last night was up and sit on that water jar, so they all hurried back home to search for that white stone until found its appearance was like a person's finger joints. So they all went back to the temple again, and then tried to interrogate the boy, but the boy didn't answer. "Where did you get it from?" The monk said that when asked questions, there was no answer. Because now the child is not himself. Leave the children at this temple for about 7 days before returning home. As for this bone, keep it at this temple first, and then return it to the owner. After that, Pooh's family and the family of the third boy go to the temple together. Previously, the monk told him to bring plywood between the cafeteria and the wall. Pooh's mother asked permission to go and see that spot before blocking it. When it arrived, looking directly at the wall, saw a hole, which some channels are broken. There was white dust on the floor with human bone fragments. They don't know whose bones it is, from where it came from, because if the body floats up to the pier, the temple will bring the body up to be cremated and bring the ashes to keep in this hole in the wall.
Is the cafeteria where the bones are kept?
Yes, some channels are broken. The temple has already used a wire mesh to block it. But with the mischief of the child will dive into play and probably pick it out. Third boy, probably pick it up and put it in your pants pocket.
Oh, I understand the whole story. Is that the children go to play together then, as a child do not know it's a piece of human bone. Therefore put it in the bag, and came out to play at home.
The third child picked it up alone. Pooh's younger brother just go play and didn't bring home, but take the hand that handles body wipes according to their own clothes. Pooh therefore banned his own younger brother not to do this again, because the temples in that area, most of them will have bodies floating around at the waterfront of the temple. The waterfront area of the temple also has a story to tell. If there is a chance to tell again, each story is quite haunting, because most of the people who encounter these things often encountered them while transporting items on ships. After the hair is done, we'll come to drink coffee in front of the temple and bring this story together. What have you encountered?
All of this happened when they were a kid. What did he do without knowing? Go pick it up and play. Make events happen. Almost lost his life. It's quite severe. All listeners, all stories conveyed have to go back about 31 years ago.
In those days, trade was transported by water. Using boats to transport, in the past, some Chinese people came to work sick but still have to work hard and can't stop, causing him to fall into the water and die. The body then floated to the pier of the temple, without knowing who, when the body was brought up and cremated, so the bones had to be kept there.
This is scary. Tales of displaced spirits. Now all 4 children are all grown up, which almost did not survive, all 4 of them, but in the end got through. Thanks to the owner of the story and Karen, who told me about it too. If there is another story like this next time, come and tell me about it again.
Alright, bye.